Hi everyone, I'm Swapna Megadi, your coach. Um, I'm certified holistic wellness coach and law of attraction accredited life coach and board certified holistic health coach, admin of the group Wellness Women. Today I have a very special guest speaker who is uh, who is a certified yoga trainer, psychology expert who finished her PhD in psychology, who is also a certified health and wellness coach. Now, Dawn will be sharing her own story of transformation starting from her psychology. First step.
Hi. Hi, Swapna. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today and talk to your listeners today, people today, however you identify them. So, as Swapna said, I am a psychologist. So I have my PhD in psychological sciences. I'm also a certified yoga instructor and a certified health and wellness coach. For me, psychology, I was gonna say it's always been a natural choice, but honestly, it was not. Yeah, human behavior though has always intrigued me. Like it's something that I've always been interested in. And so when I originally went to school, fun fact, I went to school to be an aerospace engineer. But but physics and astronomy kicked my butt and I was like, "Oh no, this is not for me." And then really life happened and things like that. And so I didn't graduate from college originally, but then I decided one day, life happened, I had kids, I got married, I had kids, and I was like, you know what? Education, you really do like education. So go back to school, get your degree. And then that is when I fell in love with psychology. I love all things psychology, related to psychology. I call myself a psychology nerd. I just love human behavior. Like it really, really intrigues me. And so the same things that interest me about psychology. So I used to have a lecturer, and my students would ask me. I taught intro psychology. My students would ask me all the time, "Why do we have to take psychology? I'm a biology major. Like, why should I take a course in psychology?" And my answer was always, "Unless you're going to spend your entire life, the rest of your life, in a cave, you need psychology." Like we interact with people all the time. Psychology teaches us all about human behavior. And so that's why you need to take psychology. It teaches us how to not be so judgmental when we come in contact with people. It teaches us why people might behave in certain ways that we don't necessarily understand. It teaches us how to embrace the cultural differences we have as human beings, So it's an awesome, awesome subject. So I taught psychology for a while. I've been doing research for the last 4 years, but something was always missing for me. Like I felt like in the wake of the pandemic, as I was getting older, I was like, it something is still missing. And so that is when I decided to dive a little deeper into my spirituality, dive a little deeper into what it was going to take to get me to be here for my family. Like I want to be here for a long time. I have a grandson, I have, children. I'm like, I want to be here for them. So what's that going to take? That is when I discovered yoga. So uh, being the overachiever that I am, I discovered yoga. I had never taken a yoga class before. So, what do I do in the wake of the pandemic? I enrolled for teacher training as opposed to just take your first yoga class and see if you like it. Nope, I had to go all out. I had to go all out and enroll in teacher training. So I spent all of like 2021 in teacher training, but it was awesome. It was like really, really awesome. And it helped me to even connect, believe it or not, my love for psychology, my faith base, so my religion, and then the philosophy of yoga. Like I was able to even further connect all of those three things. And then I came to health and wellness coaching. Being a woman of color, like I know that women of color, we deal with a lot of health issues. I have personal health issues in my family, and so like how can I empower women? How can I help um, with the psychological issues that women face? How can I marry all of these things? How can I take my education and help people? How can I tell my story? Because again, I left school originally, and so I came back much later in life and got my degree. I did not get my PhD until like 2014. And so I'm a firm believer in this whole idea of reinvention, of it never being too late to live the life of your dreams. You know if you want to reinvent yourself, what's stopping you from doing it? If you want to go back to school, what's stopping you from doing that? If you feel like I have to raise, I want to raise my kids first, that's fine. Do that. But once you're done, okay, hey, it's time. You had this plan and something you wanted to do in the back of your mind. Let's go ahead. Let's do that. Whatever you want to do it. And so that's the attitude that I've always had. And one thing that attracted me, aside from wanting to empower women, help women through the health and wellness deal, another thing that drew me to coaching was it takes our strengths and it brings those to the forefront. It takes those superpowers that we have in us that we might not realize, and it helps to, like, as a coach, we help bring those things out in people. And I just love that. Like, that's just very fulfilling to me. They may have struggled with so many things before, and not even realize that those superpowers are there. And they as coaches, we help to bring those out. So it's so different from psychology, in that psychology is all about going from a clinical psychologist, which I'm not. I'm a research scientist, but it's all about going from dysfunctional to functional, whereas coaching is not about that at all. And that's what I love, because I'm a huge positive psychology person. And so being a coach, I get to focus on positive psychology in a positive way. And I just love that. So,
So, but after listening to your story, I felt that every female need to have that attitude.
well, thank you. I feel that way too. That's why I became a coach. Yeah, I feel that
Yeah,
way too.
because after after certain time period, after having kids, like they are like, it's over now. It's like we have nothing to do. Like we don't have to study anything, or we don't need any trainings, or we don't need anything.
Right.
Uh, they are in that mindset. So
Mhm.
I think, yeah, attitude is first step, first requirement.
I agree.
So So, how did psychology help you to evolve in the life? How did it help?
Um, it's funny that you mentioned attitude. For me, psychology was a big part of that. As I said, it helped me to look at the world in just a totally different way. It helped me to not people people often ask me like, you're such a laid back person. Like you barely get angry. You barely. I'm like, oh, I do. You just don't always. I do, but it takes a lot. It takes a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah,
And I owe that to psychology because it's really taught between psychology, meditation, yoga. It's taught me to be intentional about a lot of things, and it's taught me to not be so quick to jump to conclusions about people. So, so typically as human beings, we want to find fault in people based on something internal about them. So we might even say, "Oh, they're just a bad person." Like every time I see them, they're always mean. They're always, ugly or whatever. Not taking the time to think. We use these snap judgments, right? Because we're lazy. We call them we're cognitive misers. Like we don't want to use our brains. It's quicker for us to just jump to these conclusions. That's where things like stereotypes come from. And we do this because our brains are wired that way. We want to go to the fast path of least resistance. We want to go to the fastest solution. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, one thing psychology really taught me, and again, yoga too, about that is no, you really want to take in the whole the situation. Like there could be something situational that's affecting that person. That person might very well be a person that's angry all the time or even sad all the time for that matter. But more than likely, there's probably something external going on. So rather than using those heuristics, which are like these snap judgments, they help us make these snap judgments. Rather than doing that, take a step back and think about, oh, there could very well be something external that's going on with that person. And maybe I should take time to try to find out what that is. So,
yeah, yeah. Most of us are like judgmental while when someone is like explaining something or talking. Yeah, while listening, only we will make conclusions.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, we shouldn't react.
Right. We're reaction. We are definitely like reactive instead of so we make and again that's what causes us to make those quick decisions to be judgmental as opposed to thinking about what might be going like hey something else might be going on in that situation especially if it's someone that you don't know so like an example that I usually give is like my family and I we went out to a birthday dinner this was of course was pre-COVID so there was like a large group of us and our waitress oh bless her heart like she really was you could tell she was overwhelmed she was not very good that day. And so just about everybody at the table was like, we're not going to tip her. We're not going to tip her. And I was like, guys, don't do that to her. Like you don't know. Maybe she's had a really busy day and we were just her. She was about to go home and now she has this huge party coming in here. Like don't be judgmental in that way. Like don't say that she's just a horrible waitress. She could have just had a horrible day. And so don't, not tip her just because or, stiff her on the tip or shorten her tip because of something like that. So, yeah.
So can you explain, um, like how can we create healthy habits, new healthy habits?
Right. So healthy habits, we're all looking to to start
Yeah,
those,
everyone
right?
is looking for it.
We want to start those. So habits, when we habits again, these are things that are wired in our brains. Our brains are amazing. Like our brains do some amazing things, right? And so the same way that we develop habits through repetition they typically are like these automatic things and so typically one example that I always give is smoking for example so people develop a bad habit smoking is a bad habit, and I'm sorry if you do it, but it is a bad habit. So in order to, when we want to replace a habit, we have to develop a new one. Again, that's the way our brains are wired. That's the way they work, which is often like when you see people that smoke, a lot of them turn to eating. And this is just an example. I'm giving you an example of how you might implement a new habit. But people turn to eating because they've gotten so used to doing something with their hands. They've gotten so used to that hand to mouth connection with the smoking. And so a lot of them start eating, or they always have to have something in their mouth, like chewing the gum and things like that. So I said that to say, to implement a new habit, you typically have to engage in a behavior repetitively because you want that brain connection to happen. So the good thing about habits is that, yes, you might have bad habits, but the good thing about them is they can be replaced. Like just like you develop that bad habit, you can replace it with a new habit. So, say for example, you can do something that's referred to as micro stepping. So, micro stepping is where if I want to start walking, say 30 minutes a day, no running, don't run, not a runner, no desire to run. I love you if you do, that's awesome. but, but no, running is not for me. So if I wanted to start, which I do walk every day, by the way, but if I just wanted to start, wasn't sure, but I want to begin to develop the habit. So we can do this thing called micro stepping. So micro stepping is where you can take just little baby steps at a time to walk into, no pun intended, walk into that habit that you're trying to create. So if you want to work up to, say, 30 minutes of walking a day and you're just not quite there yet, which is okay. It's because you have to do what works for you. You can try 5 minutes a day and set it, make it an appointment, put it on your calendar, put it, like, I'm old school, so I have an actual calendar. So write it on your planner, put it in your phone, set a reminder, but keep the date just like an appointment. So the consistency along with those micro steps will help you to begin to develop that new habit. And once you're consistent, research says that, I know you've probably heard the research that it takes 21 days to create a new habit. Scientifically, it's more like 200 plus.
Oh,
So
200 days?
yeah, yeah. So
200 days?
don't beat yourself up if it doesn't stick right away. Do not. It's more like I cannot remember the name of the researcher, but I read this a few months ago, and it's like 265 days, so almost an entire year for a habit to stick. So don't beat yourself up. If you fall down, get right back up and try it again. So yeah, don't. Yeah, it's more like 265 plus days.
Not 21 days.
Yeah. No. No.
Today you opened my eyes. I was in a myth that 21 days.
No, it is not. It's much longer. And so yes, do not beat yourself up if it's a month and you're still not there. Give it's almost more like a year. Yeah.
Okay. So very long. It's a very long practice
It's
for the beginner.
long. So have practice self-compassion. Yeah, don't beat yourself up if you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, that is why they have to work with coach, right? If they
Yeah.
are working with coach, they'll get they'll be maintaining that consistency.
Yes.
Because maintaining consistency on our own without any accountability, that is really difficult,
It is.
unachievable.
It is. It is. So that accountability is important too. Yeah. Again, the self-compassion and the accountability, and yeah, a coach helps with the accountability piece, definitely.
So even to break the old habits,
Mhm.
is it the time 200 days?
So when you think about it is probably more likely the same thing, because again, the way that our brains work, we typically want to have that replacement there. Like, so if you're breaking a bad habit, you could think of it as, yeah, I want to replace this with a new habit. So yeah, it's gonna take around the same time.
So do
And
we
then you
have
go ahead, Swapna.
do we have same micro stepping even for breaking bad habits?
You can. I never had thought about that before. And I don't even think I've read like any research on that. But that's a very good question. And I do feel like again, because remember, this is not something that happened overnight. I'm pretty sure. Like even if you did say try a cigarette, for example, and that's like probably an extreme thing, but even if you did try a cigarette, you didn't develop, like, say, there might have been instances where you tried it one time and you quit and you were like, "Ugh, this is horrible, I can't do this." But if you are now a smoker, I doubt that that's the way that you started smoking. Or if you are now, say, you love sugary drinks and that's something that you just love to drink. So the idea is that you might say, okay, I'm not going to drink diet coke anymore. That's okay. But what are you going to drink instead? So instead of just like making that really hard on yourself and just trying to cut it out completely, you might try, you anytime I have a thought to that I want to drink diet coke, I'm going to grab a glass of water instead. Or I'm going to get, a water with lemon, something. But yeah, it typically works that you want to replace. But yeah, as far as the bad, I'm pretty sure it will work the same. The micro stepping could work the same way because you could say, okay, uh, quitting this is hard for me, but this week I'm only going to drink 3 Diet Cokes as opposed to the 7 that I normally drink. So that would be a micro stepping action.
Because I see that who are alcoholic or who do a lot
Mm-hmm.
of smoking, for them it's really difficult to give up that habit.
Yes.
Like they'll try for 1 or 2 months, again they'll go back.
Right. And so typically cold turkey, as they say, so like just trying to quit, that works for some people, but for some people it does not. So and again, I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, you have to know you, like you have to know what works for you. And don't beat yourself up. Like again, this is not something that you did overnight. So it's gonna take a while to
Yeah.
get through it. So
Yeah. So now coming to like uh, most of us, they have the question like how to be yourself, how to
mhm,
show your authentic self, and how to be yourself.
right.
uh, because people are not understanding like how to behave in that way, like
Mhm.
they don't understand exact meaning of how to be yourself.
Right. Um, so and that's something that I'm sure we hear a lot. It's like be yourself, be true to yourself, being your authentic self. So learning what works for you. So as I just mentioned, like about the diet cokes, like if you drink diet cokes, if you smoke, like that's something that you do, but it might not be very feasible for you to just quit cold turkey. Like you're like, oh, I cannot do this, especially you do experience like things like caffeine withdrawals, things like nicotine withdrawals, like those things are real. And so you do experience them. And so you have to do what works for you. So when I hear be your authentic self, be your true self, for me, that tells me that I should do what feels right to me. And a good example, I'm so glad you asked this now that I'm thinking about that. A good example. So, like when I completed my coaching certification at the end of last year, um, it was all about you need to do nutrition, you need to do nutrition, you need to do nutrition. And I'm like, first of all, I am not a nutritionist. Um, I am a psychologist. I am of the feeling that everything starts here. Even if I want to make changes in my body, I have to be ready to do it
True.
here, from here in my mind. So I had to stay true to myself. Like I purchased nutrition programs. Yes, I feel, and I'm going to be honest, it was a waste of money. Not to say that I won't ever use them, because I'm sure I can work them in somewhere, but at the I was like, no, this is not. I need to find my voice. I need to find what works for me. And that's the same thing in just for people in everyday life, for women in everyday life. If you're doing something that does not feel comfortable for you, you're not being true to yourself. You're not,
Yes.
you're not finding your voice. It's so important. When you find your own voice, it's empowering. Like it's very empowering. You're
Yeah.
more likely to speak up. You're more likely to enjoy what it is that you're doing. You're more likely to find something that you're very passionate about when you are true to you, what you feel in your core. To And for me, that just happened to be, you know what, if I have to be the coach that does nutrition, then I probably will find something else to do, because I'm if you're healthy, that's the most important. And mentally healthy is, as long as you're not like, say, unhealthy to the point where you need to be seeing a doctor for something. If you're fine with the way you look, be fine with it. As long as you're not sick, that's the most important part. But yeah, I had to say, no, I'm not. Other coaches, other health coaches might be doing this, but I'll just drop the health from my name then. I'm just a wellness, a transformation coach, a wellness coach. I'm not doing the nutrition. I will, but it's not going to be my main focus. So yeah, just being authentic and true. And it helps you mentally too. You will be in a much better place for that. Yeah.
Like, even if they are learning to eat healthy, yeah, just definitely it will be empowering, right? Even if they are
Yes.
healthy, even if they are healthy already, it's nothing wrong to learn something healthy, because it will help to boost their performance, energy levels, or lowering stress. But they shouldn't overdo it, like force.
Right. Right. And so for me, another thing, Swapna, as far as being true to myself, how did I handle the nutrition piece? I took a step back and said, you know what, you're a psychologist. This is where your training is. What about mindful eating? You're not so worried about counting calories, counting macros, things like that. You can focus more on mindful eating, which will help people in a different way. Like, mindful eating is a part of self-care. Self-care, mindful eating lets you be in tune with how am I feeling when I eat those? Like, I love sweets, but how do I really feel when I get done eating those sweets? Like, I love this food, but how does it make me feel when I eat this food? Am I taking the time to enjoy my food? So yeah, rather than focus specifically on, say, nutrition, I chose to focus on mindful and intuitive eating, and that was my way of being, still remaining true to myself. Yeah.
So yeah, even I feel 100%. I agree with you 100% that we have like many other elements to look into it, but we cannot just achieve everything through one element, that is nutrition. That is totally wrong.
Right.
Yeah, we need to even empower, understand at mind level what we have to do. It's not just eating food, but also something at mind level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
needed.
Yes, exactly.
Because
Exactly.
without that, first mindset empowerment is the first step, and without having that in place, however one is trying different kinds of things, different kinds of nutritions, diets,
Mhm.
still they will not be like, it's like waste of time. They don't achieve anything.
Right. Fad diets, definitely. No. Just a word of caution. Even though I'm not a nutritionist, I can tell you because I am a a behavioral person. Like I'm all about lifestyle behavior change. And the psychology behind diets. Diets are made for you to fail. Like diets set you up to fail. We get hungry. We want to eat. Diets are not made for that. Restrictive diets, I'll say, because
Yes.
you'll hear things like the Mediterranean diet. Like, yeah, those are good because those are, say, like if you have high blood pressure, for example, they typically put you on a Mediterranean diet, and that's not like a restrictive calorie diet. It's a whole food diet where you're just eating healthier foods to help try to bring your blood pressure down. But fad diets and things like that, no, they are set up to make you fail. They're restrictive on purpose. And then so what happens is you tend to go back to the way you were eating before. And studies actually show that a lot of people that do these restrictive diets, they do tend to yo-yo diet. And then they also tend to end up gaining more weight back after they've
Yeah.
lost the weight. So yeah.
One of the major thing I noticed in many of the clients, many of the females, is that they are doing, but they are not understanding why they are doing, for
Mhm.
what they are doing, what is their big why, and like they are doing, but they are not noticing. Like after eat mindfulness, it's like
Right.
after eating that what how you are feeling,
Mhm.
so that you can make changes and move forward. But that is not there. Noticing is not there. They don't know why they are doing it, why they are eating it, because everyone is doing so.
Yeah.
It's like copy paste.
Exactly. It's copy paste. It's I want to be like everyone else. I want to be this carbon copy. And that's where we go back again to the authentic self,
Yeah.
being true to yourself. If you are comfortable in the skin that you are in, hey, that's really all that matters. And you're from a health and you're healthy from a health perspective, then that's the most important thing. But yeah, the mindfulness of it, the why, like why I want to do this, but why? Because even if your why is not enough, then yeah, it does go back to the whole this vicious cycle of the yo-yo dieting and the gaining and the losing weight, as opposed to sustainable weight loss and staying healthy. So
We need to understand our own body and then create according to some nutrition uh, lifestyle, some nutrition which will be feasible only for us, not for others. We have to create
exactly.
our own copy. Yeah, we have to create.
Exactly. Because that's a very good point, Swapna, because the thing with these fad diets as well, it's like they're a one size fits all. Are you a one size person? I'm not. I know I'm unique. Like I'm like there is no one else in the world like Dawn. Like there's no one else in the world like me. My daughter is probably the closest thing, but other than that, there is no one else like me. So I definitely don't want to follow. Like I want something that is for me, like for me that I feel comfortable with. So yeah, that's another thing about the fad diets is that they're one size fits all. So your coach can help you with that as well, to develop something, whatever is in your mind, whatever dream, whatever vision you have, your coach can help you bring that to life, and it's something that is just for you, and your coach can help you with that. So
So everyone has their own unique lifestyle, right?
yeah,
We cannot copy others' lifestyle. We have to create
exactly.
our own style. We have to create our own identity, our
Right.
own nature in the like to stand out from the people. But we cannot copy from others like what they are doing. Everyone is eating, so I will eat.
Yeah,
So we cannot do that.
that is true. That is true. So
So
true.
my next question is like, what are limiting beliefs and how can we break it?
Great question. And that is why, like, I have such a soft spot in my heart for working with women, because I believe if anyone suffers from limiting beliefs, it's us. As a lot of time, I mean, think about it. Like in the workplace, we're paid less than men. In our homes, we're often, the caregivers. We have to take care of everybody, and so it's hard for us to think of ourselves outside of these labels. So outside of mom, outside of wife. Outside of those, it's hard. And so we put ourselves in this little box. And so limiting beliefs are, I am in this little box and this is where I have to stay. Like this is where I'm going to stay. Limiting beliefs are how we label ourselves. There are these
Like,
false accusations. So there are
like
these false
example,
things that we tell ourselves. Go ahead.
like can you give some examples?
So limiting belief, if I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm, you know, I'm worthless. I'm never going to amount to anything. I'm too old. If I had
Yeah,
told myself that I was too old, I would never have gotten my PhD. As a matter of fact, like I went from my bachelor's to master's to PhD. Like I did all that within the span of 6, 8ish years. So and it just hit me like because I did a terminal master's degree and when which means I was not going to go on to a PhD, but then in my graduation uh they asked me a question like when I got hooded for my PhD. I was asked, why did you do this and how were you able to do it? Because I was a full-time, like I had a full-time job, I had kids, have a husband, and they were like, why did you decide to do this? And I said, and it was a case of where, and this is going to be bad because I just said be your unique self, but it was like, if these other people are doing it, I can do it too. And so that was my thought. And then I was like, you know what? Because you can't say that you can't do this. You don't know that you can't do it because you've never tried. And so I was like, no, we're gonna get this done. I'm gonna do this. So yeah, the whole I'm not, I'm too old. No, 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 no. You're never. I feel like as long as you're above ground, you're healthy. You have your senses. You have, you
as you
have.
are as long as you are alive,
Yeah, as long as you're above ground,
alive.
yes, you can do it. You can do whatever you want to do. So those are limiting beliefs, but I am of the belief that we, especially, like, we are limitless. Think about how powerful we are as women. Like we have a lot of power. We we're mother earth. Like we're mothers. Like we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're whatever. We run our households, a lot of us, so we we are some powerful beings. And so don't put those limiting beliefs on yourself.
I think most of us we feel we are worthy only when we are in university, when we are doing our studies. But after that, when we are getting onto the responsibilities, especially after having kids,
Mhm.
yeah, we forget. Most of the females forget they have the value. They
Exactly.
don't.
Exactly, especially after having kids. And then while you're raising your kids, not so much. And I know I'd asked you about your demographic before, and you said you had some 30s, early 50s. So while you're raising your kids, not so much, but you're still tied to that mom label. And so your kids are where like your time and your energy goes for the most part. But when those kids leave home, like it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Because my kids are gone. I'm not a mom. I'm not quote unquote a mom anymore. I'm too old.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to go back to school. What am I gonna do? You do
And
whatever you want
they
to do.
no at that point, most of the females, some of few of them, they think that they don't have any purpose,
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
start giving up that health because they are not finding any purpose when the kids are like settled, when they are independent, like then they don't find their purpose,
That's
so they
true.
feel they start giving up their health gradually.
Yes, because their life, their energy all went into their children. And so once their children have gone off to college, they've gone into careers and things like that. It's like, okay, what what do I do now? I have no purpose. My purpose is in life is gone. No, sister, this is your time It's a time for you to do whatever it is, you know, bring out that woman that was always there. She just had to, you know, put herself to the side to take care of her kids. You know, now it's the
So
time for, yeah.
I want to highlight this. Please say this loudly to all the females who forgot that they are worthy to achieve something after they have become the moms. They forget their own value.
Mhm.
So tell them that they have to get back.
Oh yeah, you definitely, you are worthy. That's another way to overcome those limiting beliefs. Use those affirmations. Like, it might sound woo woo, it might sound, those are just words. Our words have power. The same way you're telling yourself, think about how those limiting beliefs are making you feel. So just think how much better you would feel if you reverse that and you change that and you write those things down. Put those affirmations, you know, stick. I have affirmations all over my monitor here. I have a huge a huge monitor. I have stickies with affirmations on them. When I go look at myself in the bathroom mirror, I have affirmations on
Isn't it? Is
my,
it?
yeah, on my mirror. And I say these in the morning. I tell myself, you know, I am a courageous, you know, fierce, caring
So
coach,
your
you know.
affirmation started working on you?
Yes, yeah, yes,
Like
definitely.
do you replace and add new affirmations? How
Um,
often you replace?
I
How?
Yeah, I have some that I really like. So those I keep, but there are, like, I have daily affirmations that I say sometimes, but those don't always make it to my monitor or my mirror. Ones that I really like make it to my monitor and my mirror, but I say an affirmation like daily. I use affirmations daily. And as I said, you
I'm
can
going
write it.
to try. I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
try your tip.
definitely.
I'm going to paste everywhere.
And don't give up. Like, if you have something, if you believe in yourself, yeah. And I'm not saying you don't need a support system. We all need support systems. For some of us, that's our faith-based community. For some of us, that's our family. I am all about that, because your coach, like, we need those support systems. But it starts here. Same way with self-love. You cannot love anyone else. Like, you can't give of yourself until you love yourself enough to know how worthy you are, you know. So, yeah.
So I have I noticed one more thing. Like
Mhm.
few females, like they attach their value with like something with earning money. Suppose if they are not earning money and if they are idle, think that they don't have any value.
Mhm.
And yeah, something it's like if they are not working or if they are not earning money, they feel themselves that they don't have any value. So do
Mhm.
you think is it true?
Oh no, no, it doesn't matter. Like, your self-worth should not be tied to a dollar amount. It should not be tied, because it's worth, like, it's priceless. Like, you can't
Yeah.
attach a dollar amount to that. It's priceless. So I will say that if you feel like, this goes back again too, if you feel like there's something that you want to do, say you have a hobby that you want to turn into a business, go for it. I mean, you say you knit, you crochet, you're great at, I used to have a gift basket business. Like, that was something that I had a knack for, was creatively putting things together in gift baskets and sold them, that they were really nice baskets too. So, like, if there's something, like, your worth should it's priceless, so it should not be tied to a dollar
With
amount.
money.
But if you are feeling like down on yourself, or you're in an emotional space to where you are not feeling at your best version of yourself, and you feel like you could make money in some way, then go for it. I go for it. I encourage you to go for it.
If, you,
Yeah.
if somebody thinking that their value is attached to money, then they should find the way to get that.
Right. If you like, it shouldn't be, but if you feel like, and just try it and see, like, I'm not making money right now, but there, maybe there is something that I can do to make money, then work on it. Step out on a limb. Take that chance. You shouldn't measure, like, some of us measure how well we're doing by our successes. That's
Yes.
fine. That's fine. But that puts us in a safe place. Like, that's something. Before I went out on a limb and did yoga training and got my health coach certification, like, I was fine in my little space of psychology. And then I was like, no, there's something, there's a bigger purpose in life for me. I want to connect with women on a much deeper level. I want my story to get out there. I want it to be heard. So for me, I had to go beyond that success space. And so it's more about results. And the only way you can see results, the results of things, is to try and fail. Like, you can try, yeah. So it's more important about getting out there and trying and seeing what works, as opposed to staying in that little safe space. But yeah, if your worth is tied to money, see what you need to do to make you some. But I'm gonna tell you, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Now, if you feel like you would feel much better if you would make money, that's different than attaching your worth to money. I will say that. So, yeah.
Okay, then um, what question? So I think we covered almost all questions, but still, um, like, do you want to share anything on mindfulness? Do you have? Do you remember any, like? Do you Can you share one powerful action step at, like, mindset level, which through which you benefit? It was beneficial for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you are sure that even viewers will benefit from that. So, what is that one action step?
Let me think about it. Um, I'm just trying to make sure that I talked about all the ways, because really quick before I answer that, because we touched on the limiting beliefs and how we can focus on being limitless, and I just want to make sure that everybody got that, because it was to make sure you write down those limiting beliefs that you're having, because you have to take those thoughts into captivity. So, because you have to control them before they control you. And then also just question how accurate those are. And the reason I wanted to come back to this is because I had a coach, my coach asked me this the other day. And I was like, no one's ever asked me that before. But it was so powerful, because she asked me, well, when you were a lecturer, because I was telling her, well, I'm having some limiting beliefs as far as my coaching ability. And she's like, well, when you first started lecturing, did you have those same types of limiting beliefs? And I said, I did. And she asked me what they were, and I told her what they were. And she said, were any of those true? Like, did they end up being true? And I said, no, they did not. And she's like, well, there you go. I'm like, well, there you go. So yes, that's the accuracy of those beliefs. And then yes, those affirmations really, really help. And then I just don't give up. Okay, so if I could offer, ask me again one more time, Swapna, because I want to make sure I answered it the way that you asked the question. So ask me again.
Yeah, we want. I want you to talk about practicing mindfulness. I think you covered it, right?
Yeah, I did. I talked a little bit about, like,
Yeah,
my
yeah. I think now you can talk.
Yeah,
How
I
to
talked a
practice?
little bit about mindful eating, as far as like being mindful in how you eat your food, which the mindfulness in general is pretty much the same thing. Like people, it's really just being intentional as you go about your day. So, excuse me, for example, if you take a walk, and so you're out in nature, like I'm a person that really loves being out in nature. I feel like that's the closest we can ever come to God, is when we're out in nature, like here on this earth, is when we're out in nature, just looking at all of his creation. And so it, to practice mindfulness, for example, in that situation, I go out without any music. There are times, when I want to get a good walk in, I'll put on my headphones and everything like that. But a mindful walk, for example, would be just taking that walk, not taking your cell phone, not, listening, any listening device or anything like that, and just taking note, taking in everything that's around you, and just paying attention to um the colors of the leaves, the cracks in the road, like just being really mindful and present in the moment. And you would be surprised at how clear, like how much clarity you can get from doing something like that. Like, say you have
Yeah,
something that
I
you've been,
practice it regularly. If
yeah.
I go for a walk, I maintain the silence. I don't carry any mobiles, or I don't like to talk with anyone. Just noticing everything around me, that leaves, sounds, and winds blowing,
Hmm. Yeah,
birds tweeting.
yeah. Leaves
And I,
blowing down the street.
yeah, that is really relaxing. Like sunlight coming in between
Yeah,
the some leaves. That is really, it's a great, like to, yeah, we can only feel it. We cannot explain it.
exactly. It's an experience. Like, yeah, it's something that you have to experience for yourself. But the only way you can do that is to be mindful and be in the present moment, and release those things that we feel like we so desperately need to hold on to. Like, release them. And you can it's okay if you come back to them, if that's what you feel like you really have to do. But for the moment, just be in the moment and release.
Especially when we are outside in the nature. Like,
Yes.
yeah, I
Yes.
see. I see many people with mobiles. Even when they are walking, they are like with mobiles or with headphones, or like talking, like walking while talking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
not like mindfulness walk. You need to walk alone while.
Right. Yeah, it helps. So that, and then meditation is a really good way to clear your mind too. So just a few minutes. I do hear a lot, and so for me, it's such a foreign thing now. Because I did not have a regular meditation practice before I started my yoga teacher training. It wasn't as regular as I would have liked for it to be, excuse me. But so now it's funny to me to hear
Got
people
one
say,
like, thank you. Someone liked your
huh? Someone liked
someone.
my,
Yeah, you got a like.
oh. So I didn't have like a regular meditation practice before, but so it's funny to me, I do now. So it's funny to me when I hear people say, I just can't focus when I meditate. So can you give me some tips on how to meditate? That is another thing. If you want to develop a habit, because you can develop a regular habit of meditation. And if you know this about yourself, that's where this awareness comes in. If you know this about yourself, it's hard for me to pay attention, it's hard for me to focus. Start with 1 minute a day. Put that timer on if you really
Yeah,
want to.
I
Yeah.
can say frankly that I am not good in meditation. For me, I'm very, very bad in meditation. It's like while cooking, for me, it's like meditation. When I'm going for a walk outside, like it's like a
Mhm.
meditation. But for me, like chanting is also a meditation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I cannot sit in a place and close my eyes. Yeah, I cannot do that. So
Yeah.
I think this tip, your tip will help me.
Right. So when people say, I do want to do that, I really want to develop that habit, start with 1 minute, set that timer. There are people say, well, there are a lot of apps you can use. Yeah, there's an app for everything. And I'm not against apps or anything like that. But again, that's still like an external thing. Like we need to start looking inward. That's my opinion. We need to be more inward, intentionally inward. And so yeah, set a timer, 1 minute. And people often confuse meditation with like, my mind is supposed to be totally clear. It doesn't have to be. I practice prayer, and so I pray a lot when I meditate, but typically it's a thankful form. It's a gratitude and thankful form of meditation. So it's, if that's what it takes, focus on a candle. Like if you have a hard time focusing, burn a candle. Focus on that candle. Set a timer and focus on the candle. If a thought comes in, fine, catch hold of it, then release it and go back to your
How to
meditation.
release? How to release that thought?
Um, you grab it, think about it, what it is that you want to attend to it, and then just, okay, now I'm gonna put you away and I'll come back to you when I'm done with my meditation. So it has to be a conscious in the moment thing, which should be easier to do because you are in the moment and you are intentionally meditating, and so it should be easier at that time to notice that thought, massage it a little, I'll say, and then put it to the side and come back to it later. So yeah,
So this is 1 minute meditation. Like I have to light the candle, and do I have
you
to
can.
close? I
You don't even have to close your eyes. Even when I do yoga, and we're at the beginning, like during our centering, I say soften your gaze or close your eyes. So if you're going to focus on the candle, you can soften your gaze and just focus on the candle and focus on its flicker, and that's
so
it.
how about doing some kind of deep breathing for 1 minute
Mhm.
daily for 1 minute?
You can do that too. You can do like inhales and exhales and maybe focus on making your exhales longer than your inhales. There's different in yoga we call it pranayama. There are different pranayama practices that you can look up because different practices affect your body in different ways. But just to start, yeah, you can focus on extending your exhales, making your exhales longer than your inhales, or evening them out. But yeah, it's your practice,
So
so you can
why
do.
we need why the exhale need to be longer than inhales?
It's just a way to release, because typically on an exhale, so you inhale and then on an exhale, I typically like to focus people on releasing any tension that they might have in their body. So when you focus on making the exhale slightly longer, it gives you more of a chance to notice where you might be holding any tension so that you can release it and let go of it. Yeah.
Okay. So you want me to start 1 minute meditation daily for
It no,
200?
do you want to start? I'm not gonna tell you. Do you want to start? If you want to develop a meditation practice in that way, because chanting is a form of meditation too, but if you want to develop like the silent form of meditation, that's a good place that you can start, is 1 minute a day. Because it's
Yeah,
a short
but
enough time. Yeah.
yeah, for me, meditating even for 5 minutes is not possible. So I think
No,
I should
you
start one
stop
minute.
saying it's not possible. You have to try it. Yeah, try, just so start with the 1 minute. So I'm gonna,
Okay.
if you want to, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say, in coaching we don't do that. I'm gonna say if you want to start a meditation practice, you might want to start with 1 minute. So
So
yeah.
1 minute daily once. It's the same time, same place.
Yeah. Yeah.
265 days or 21 days.
For for whatever, however long it takes you to get comfortable doing it.
I think I have to do 265 days to make it a 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It will
Oh,
take me.
it could be. Yeah. Because I know that's how I do about 15 minutes a day. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I should try your tip. Definitely, it's really helpful.
Yeah. It
So
is very helpful. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think we should end this live. We
Yeah.
are. It was really. I enjoyed. Uh, I enjoyed this really, and
I know.
it was really wonderful experience for me.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a
yeah.
while, but yeah, thanks for having me.
And I request everyone kindly watch this live without missing because Dawn she shared the valuable information about like what is authentic self, how to be yourself, what are limiting beliefs, how you can break them, what is mindfulness, and in the end she shared the one action step like how to build the meditation habit by using 1 minute meditation tip. So if you have any comments, please post in the Facebook group below this video. If you like it, please like this video. And this live is available on my Facebook page. So please like my page. And it is also available on the YouTube channel. So subscribe my channel. Thank you all. See you with next one more guest speaker in the next live. Till then, bye. TC,
Bye.
good night.
Thank you.